what better challenge than playing the reigning Super Bowl champions?
I love beating everybody. Doesn't matter who it is.
Show me something tonight. Did he catch it? He did. He scored!
One thing about the two of us, we've always found ways to win.
The moment can't be too big if you built for this. What you gonna do with your moment right now?
As promised, Jeremy Fowler is back. So too is last year's Super Bowl rematch. It's the Chiefs, it's the Eagles. The Chiefs trying to avoid an 0-2 start. What are you hearing about their game plan without Xavier Worthy?
Gee, Xavier Worthy made some progress this week. He almost got back in the lineup, but they're going to play it safe. He's doubtful for this game. So they're going to go with some old reliable options. Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and then the newbie Tyquan Thornton that they acquired this offseason will play a role. He could be a deep threat for Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs do feel like they can make some progress despite being depleted at receiver, because the Eagles have been sort of shuffling around that cornerback 2 spot with Adoree Jackson, the journeyman, going to get the start again. Struggled a bit last week, so the Chiefs are hoping they can take advantage. And they know in this kind of matchup they have to run the ball well. So Isaiah Pacheco is going to have to be a factor. Also from the Eagles side, watch for A.J. Brown. Only 1 target last week.
Yeah, 8 yards.
They are hoping to get him more involved. It's got to be organic. They're not going to force feed him, but those easy slant routes that he can get 8 to 10 yards on, they're going to try to get him involved.
If there was ever a time to have home field advantage on your side, it is for the Chiefs at Arrowhead, because they are many men down. In the NFC, Giants still rocking with Russell Wilson at QB1.
Yeah.
How soon could we see Jackson Dart under center?
Well, the Giants are trying to stick to their plan here. They got the veteran Russell Wilson. They're trying not to make a rash decision here. They're hoping that Wilson and the offense plays well. Impression this preseason to the point where he's been a factor. The noise is only going to get louder. We know that, especially if they don't Dart package. The Giants have shown that even throughout camp. They'd have a drive where Russell Wilson's leading the drive, then Dart will come in, maybe around the red zone at the goal line. So could be a factor where they maybe try to get him to get. Dallas is at least prepared for that, but they've mostly prepared for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it's first-round draft capital, and everybody knows that the fans and the media in New York are relaxed, they're calm, they're welcoming, they're understanding. No big deal at all. Jeremy Fowler with the latest this morning. So their backup quarterback is Brock Purdy will not play against the Saints. It's a left shoulder injury along with some toes not feeling great. That means Mac Jones is going to get the start tomorrow and potentially beyond week 2.
The Morning Buzz is brought to you by One A Day.
All right, let's break it down. What does it all mean? NFL insider Jeremy Fowler joining the program. What more can you tell us about Purdy's injuries?
Gee, the 49ers are looking at this as week to week. So he's got the toe issue, the shoulder issue. The toe is considered a little bit more of a problem. So it's not a slam dunk next week either, but they're just going to see how he feels. He ruled out this week. Going to let him progress. It's going to be Mac Jones time this weekend. Now, that's interesting because the 49ers looked at him hard in the 2021 draft, third overall. They considered drafting him. Didn't happen. Now, Mac Jones gets his first chance to operate Kyle Shanahan's offense. So San Francisco hopes that's a short-term thing. Brock's working his way back, doing a nice job with his rehab, but out for this week. Not a slam dunk for next week either, but they're hopeful.
It's the Saints, it's the Cardinals, and I believe the Jags next up for the 49ers. Obviously early in the season, maybe Mac Jones can keep them afloat. Purdy not the only injury from week 1. What's the latest on James Cook's status tomorrow?
James Cook had a little bit of a hammy, but he's good to go. He was limited early in the week, but he perked up. That was really just a tightness issue, not a full-blown hamstring injury or tear. So he's going to get to tote the rock for the Bills, feeling good, no issue there. The bigger issue is Ed Oliver, defensive line. He's out. So the Jets are happy about that, but they're going to have to deal with James Cook. He's going to be in the lineup, good to go. Then you have Xavier Worthy. So his chances of play are slim. He's considered doubtful for this weekend's game against the Eagles, but he's perked up a little bit. Looked pretty good in practice on a limited basis, coming on the field on that shoulder issue. Didn't have to wear a big brace on that shoulder during Friday's session. So look, he's going to get to avoid injured reserve. That's the positive. He should be back in the next few weeks. They're just trying to get all their playmakers on the field. Rashee Rice will be back eventually as well. And you got Jalen Waddle. So he was a little banged up earlier in the week, but he is good to go. Head coach Mike McDaniel confirmed that Waddle will be in the lineup. They're trying to get Hill, Tyreek Hill, and Waddle going now. Ugly game against the Colts last week, but, Waddle's really a guy who developed a lot of chemistry over the years of Tua Tagovailoa, but especially this camp. They were really cooking before they started to struggle in week 1, so they're hoping that Waddle gets back on it. He is healthy, good to go.
A get-right game against the Patriots. The Patriots, a team that Waddle had 8 catches, 100.
That got to Patrick Mahomes time and time again, despite 0 blitzes. The Eagles sacked Mahomes a career-high 6 times. Worth noting, 4.5 of those came from Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. They are no longer with the team. All right, Swagoo, it got ugly real fast in that Super Bowl. What does Kansas City need to focus on in the rematch?
Physicality. I've been beating this dead horse all week. The run game for Kansas City makes a difference for them, and they've prided themselves, as much as we talk about Patrick Mahomes and these pass catchers, on being a physical football team. Trey Smith is one of the most physical dominating guards in the league, which is why he's paid like that. So I would like to see Pacheco and Querim Hunt and this run game start to help facilitate some things so Patrick Mahomes in this passing game can be explosive. They're missing wide receivers. They're missing a lot of their weapons on the outside. We expect that to get better as the season goes along, but you got to find a way to figure out how to run the football as the Kansas City Chiefs, because in history, it has helped them tremendously when it comes to their offense, and if it's stagnant, they can still be dominant.
And what about on the other side of the ball, RC? I mean, this defense gave up 40 points to the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the defense gave up 40 points to the Eagles, but I also want to talk about what we saw week 1 without Justin Reed on the back end. We know that Steve Spagnuolo loves to bring pressure. Here we're going to see the pressure, and now Keenan Allen's going to be matched up one-on-one with Brian Cook on the back end. Look at all this space that he has in this zero coverage with the blitz. We get a tear route, a clear route on the outside. Watch him make him miss, get up the field, and get the first down. And here, this play to Quentin Johnston was one of the biggest plays of the entire game. You're going to get the motion by Ladd McConkey. You see Tranquil walking up into the line of scrimmage, so they know that it's zero coverage as the safety from the backside, Jaden Hicks, comes over. Look at his body position. He's trying to shield him from getting to the open side of the field. His hip is locked. He can't get around, and now Johnston gets into the end zone. They had to try to create pressure, but in doing that, I felt like they weren't tied in well on the back end, and that could be something that the Eagles exploit because they know they're going to try to get pressure on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, right. This is my exact note for the defense. I know Steve Spagnuolo is going to send pressure, in part because the 4-man rush for Kansas City isn't getting it done. In part because Jalen Hurts, while he was better against the blitz last year by a great deal, it is still the right way to attack him. You saw that week 1 a bit with Dallas. So knowing he's going to send pressure, my one note was just, okay, what happens on the back end? Can they cut down on the miscommunications? Can they anticipate where Hurts' outlets are in this game? Whether it's A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith underneath, or even Saquon as a check down option. Because what we saw from the Chiefs defense in week 1, I will say, was far more concerning to me than the Chiefs offense. The Chiefs offense is going to get better. They're going to get players back, but this is the defense, and they must play significantly better, particularly in communicating on the back end than we saw that first week. Y'all
are making me feel real bad about my pick, which is crazy. I'm the only one who picked the Chiefs because they've never lost 3 straight games under Patrick Mahomes. But I can see, RC, why y'all picked the Eagles.
Well, I just think that right now the Kansas City Chiefs aren't the team we're used to seeing. They're very beat up on the offensive side of the ball, and defensively they just didn't look like that same physical, aggressive unit we're used to seeing.
Swagoo, thanks again.
Is whatever shoe stepped on Ed Oliver, that shoe should no longer be allowed in the building, because on Sunday night, Ed Oliver was the best player on this defense, even in opportunities to affect the game, whether it be the pass, tackles for loss, and then obviously the huge forced fumble late in the game. Ed Oliver was the playmaker on the defensive side. Justin, and help me out here, was Justin's last name? Justin Fields. There we go. I had a brain fart. I'm talking to you, Hannah. I wasn't making up a difference. I'm talking about Justin Fields. I had a brain fart. But I'm not saying that Justin Fields and Breece Hall are Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, but they're kind of like Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson-ish. Right. So you need a guy like Ed Oliver, who showed how big of a piece he was to this defense, to be out there to make some plays.
Yeah, I'm right with you, Ryan, on this run game, because it was kind of lost in the Bills' win that until the very end of the game, they were getting gashed on the ground, and Oliver was so instrumental at the end in forcing the fumble and getting some tackles. But that Ravens rushing attack off of outside zone last week averaged over 9 yards per carry. And to your point, you know who had a pretty damn good-looking outside zone run game week 1 against Pittsburgh?
Exactly.
The defense and the tape, man. Missed tackles, out-gapped, out-leveraged, guys completely misdiagnosing where the run was. The Bills really have to clean that up. Otherwise, I think this Jets offense is going to be harder to stop than many people thought.
Yeah, when you looked at the Jets offense, that was the offense we've been waiting to see. That was the Breece Hall we've been looking for since he was drafted out of Iowa State, and now you add Justin Fields to that. And some of that quarterback run that, quite frankly, they didn't show in the preseason. I felt like it got Justin in the rhythm. They were able to move the pocket in the pass game, and when you saw what he did by scrambling to throw, I think it's going to put a ton of pressure on the Buffalo Bills in this defense, and this is going to be one of those games, at least in my opinion, that ends up being a lot closer than it looked when the schedules were made in the offseason.
I mean, I think all of us see the possibility of an upset alert, and yet when you look at the picks that we all made, we made the Bills, but here's our twisted logic. There's the gong. We ruined week 1 for so many teams. So I think, Amina, this gives the Jets a chance. What do you think?
So we didn't talk about the Bills' offense. That's why I'm picking the Bills to win. I think Josh Allen is going to move the ball.
Right. Hey, Peter, exactly. It's not that the Jets can't do all of the things we said the Jets could do. It's just that Josh Allen and the Bills can do a little bit more on offense. I think this game is close, but I believe when you have the best player on the field, and in a lot of instances, the best player in all of the NFL, they find ways to make plays when it matters most.
Yeah, definitely some hope, though, in the start of the Aaron Glenn era. Justin Fields as quarterback.
Thank you.
We were just I'm talking about running back.
10 minutes.
You can't read your mind. Well, maybe we should. Just getting started on
swag wave over here. I'm doing the swag wave.
Yeah, RC.
Thank you, RC. Thank you, man.
RC and Mina carried the show. I just want you to know. And now that you're finally at LSU, weigh in.
Just blame it on me, Hannah. Blame it on me. I'm not the type to snitch. Just blame it on me.
No. We're just teasing you. I'm confident it was someone else's fault. Absolutely confident. But we do want to get your thoughts on last night, what you saw from the Packers.
Yeah, what I loved so much was that they still featured Josh Jacobs, even with the numbers that Jordan Love and these wide receivers were able to put up. And you would think that throughout the course of this game that they found something against the Washington Commanders, and they would have stuck with trying to push the ball downfield. But Josh Jacobs and a heavy dosage of him, I think, helped this entirety of this offense. But it talks about balance. I still like that Matt LaFleur likes to run the football even when having success in the pass game, because if you watch that game, you start to wear on people as it goes along. And Josh Jacobs is that battering ram, that offensive line start leaning. In turn, you get people to start walking up near the line of scrimmage, and then Jordan Love is finding wide receivers wide open. So it was an element. Y'all know I love the run game, and I know Jordan Love put up 290. But I still love the fact that there was 20-plus rushes out of the backfield for Josh Jacobs.
Micah Parsons continues to impact that defense. What do you think about the chance of, thank you.